Welcome to another live stream. I am flying around tonight with my head cut off. Let's turn the TV on. I'm not even set up yet. I'm sorry, guys. So much going on tonight in the background. Give me 1 second here. Come on, TV. Anyway, welcome to the live stream. There we go. So lots to cover tonight. Thank you for joining me. I'm so sorry. I was just a few minutes from getting ready to go. I was showing you guys the Skycam and it got me a little bit behind, but welcome. We got two topics tonight. I have an update on my live gear and actually had some, came into possession some stuff. I'll tell you that story a little bit later because we are going to open up tonight by saying hi to everybody, but we're also going to be talking about when and where you would use a HOSA switch, what a HOSA switch is, why I have it in my studio. Almost every person that I do consulting for that's doing podcasting with a RodeCaster Pro and an ATEM Mini or maybe an Extreme, whatever they're using. Some people are using software to stream. Some people are using deck link cards, which is a whole nother conversation. We'll probably cover that sometime this spring because that's a great topic. And lots of guys here on the channel now are using deck link cards or using the rack mounted Blackmagic design switchers. And there's even new ones available. My lighting seems a little off, so let's fix that. There we go. So I was on camera 3 lighting. So anyway, that's kind of where we're going tonight. So welcome. If you're just tuning in or you're watching this after it went live, let's go ahead and hit record and get a recording going here in the background. So if you are watching this delayed and it's already been live, we're live Tuesdays at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Gets a little whack when we go to daylight savings time. Obviously, spring forward, fall back, and it throws everybody's clocks off. But I wanted to welcome you guys tonight. This is Life Journey Production Studios. My name is Keith, and again, we're going to be looking at some live audio that I'll be using for outside of the studio shoots, and I came into some new equipment. We're going to be looking at that. You're actually going to hear a clip from one of the songs that we produced in our studio and some in other studios tonight from my son. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later. You're going to hear a little clip of that CD, which will be fun. So that's fed into channel 3 and 4 of the RodeCaster Pro tonight. And we'll be talking about what's over on the desk. So lots of things to look at over there. We'll get to that a little bit later in the second half. But we're going to open up tonight talking about the HOSA switches, when I recommend those, when you would use those. Hank had a comment. You can read that in the chat. We're going to look at that device that Hank talked about. And we're going to go ahead now and say hi to everyone after I get the right mouse here. And so let's see. Do we have chat on the air right now? So let's turn chat. Where are you? Skycam needs to be off. Chat on the air. And let's see here. David was here way early. He says, what in the world is a HOSA switch? Well, that's a great question. We're going to come back to that question after I say hi, David. Thanks for joining me. It's great to have you tonight. Hank is here tonight as well. And here his comment. We're going to deal with this question here in just a few moments. So stand by, and then a follow-up comment here by Hank. We'll come back to that. Kamel, thank you for joining me tonight, all the way from the Netherlands. I hope I'm saying that right. Kamel. I apologize if I'm getting your name incorrect. Doug is here tonight. It's great to have Doug here tonight. DJ Ware, again. Some of these guys have great channels, totally different in some respects, but similar in other respects. So let's just jump down here. I want to say hi to Craig. It's good to have you here. Looking forward to tonight's topic. Thank you for joining me. Well, I'm looking forward to tonight's topic as well. Now, I've covered this before on my channel, but it's been a long time. There's even some videos floating around somewhere on my page, my YouTube channel, so we'll talk a little bit about those later. And I should really change glasses because it helps me see, but I'm going to have to put the other ones back on. This makes it a lot easier for me to read the chat, so I have these glasses right here. Crazy glare on my light on me tonight. I don't know what's going on with my eyes, but it's been a week so far. So yeah, great to have Craig here. I think I've hit everybody. So again, where we're going to head tonight, if you're just joining us, there'll be some other guys that'll jump on. But I really want to dive in tonight and get started as close to 10 after as we possibly can. But I want to tell you guys again that we're going to talk about the HOSA switch and how you use it, why I use that HOSA switch, why I'm recommending it, and how you hook it up. And we're going to talk about that tonight. I will bust out the iPhone and use it as a mobile cam and show you my desk. I'll show you some cables. We're going to talk about different types of cables tonight, what you'll need to hook this up. And again, the HOSA switch is going to be our topic for the first half. And the second half is I have some live audio updates. So some new equipment has arrived. I'll explain to you how I got that, which is really cool. I'm going through that equipment right now and going to be rearranging some things. And we're going to do some work on the table tonight so you guys can bust out of here if you don't want to be a part of that. But I am going to show you guys everything that I've added. And then we're going to actually rack mount some stuff tonight on the table. That should be fun. I don't build a lot of things live in my live streams, but tonight we're going to break all the rules and we're going to build some things live. So you can call me a rule breaker if you want to. So it's good to have you. Let's just scroll down here. And I just want to look at the chat here real quick. I don't think anybody else has joined me, but let me go into my channel here. This seems to update faster. So let me get through the commercials here. So again, HOSA switch is what we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes. And then we're going to talk about what's on the table behind me, some things that are under the table that you can't see. And that'll be a lot of fun. So hang tight for that. I am getting into more live audio, so I will be doing some videos speckled into my live streams as well as some uploaded videos. And I know I promised you guys last week the audio files from last week's live stream. That video is almost edited, so I apologize for not having that ready, but I need to have all those audio files from the DJI Mic 1, the DJI Mic 2, the Rode Lav Go 2, all of that, including samples of the files that are recorded inside the DJI Mic 2 kit at 32-bit float. You're going to have a sample of that, and all of that will be available in the Google Drive. And all you have to do is you'll go to my channel. So let me bring that here on the screen. So you can go to my channel right here, and I'll put a link in the description. Actually, it's already in the description. And you just fill out this form. And down here under topic or type of your message here, you're going to say that I want access to the audio files for the audio comparison of the DJI one. You just abbreviate. I'll know what it is. And then what I'll do is, because I get your email, make sure you put your email in this right here. I will add you to that private Google Drive, and then you'll be able to access those files. You'll be able to download those files, put your headphones on, and listen to the DJI mic. I have the Lav Go on tonight, though you're listening to my SM7B, but we'll have this on when we go to the table. So this is my mic, and then I also have the DJI Mic Kit 1, and then I borrowed from a good friend of mine the DJI Mic Kit 2, and so I have all those audio samples, what it sounds like when you run it into a RodeCaster Pro and then over into the ATEM. So if you want to hear the changes of what an ATEM preamp does to the RodeCaster Pro, you're going to be able to have that file from the ATEM. You're going to be able to have the file recorded in the RodeCaster Pro when this is used wirelessly. You're also going to be able to hear what this sounds like when it's tethered and it's plugged into adapter. And we'll talk just a little bit about these adapters tonight, but this 3.5 to 1/4 inch adapter. So lots of samples, and my video talks about that. You can listen to the uploaded video. Obviously, that's going to have the original audio files, but that'll be impacted by the YouTube algorithms. So just remember, anything you upload to YouTube, they do their own compression. So the reason I'm going to upload those WAV files so that you guys can listen to them into a Google Drive is then you don't have to listen to anything that's affected in those tracks by YouTube. You'll be able to hear exactly what it sounds like recording in the ATEM from the RodeCaster Pro. You'll be able to hear these mics recorded in the RodeCaster Pro, and then you'll be able to hear these microphones recorded in them. And then the DJI mic has 32-bit float, so you have a 24-bit file recorded internally in the DJI mic too, and you also have a 32-bit float audio file. And if you go back last week and look at the very end of last week's live stream, I did a close-up look at Adobe Audition of what it looks like when you record at 24-bit and you peak. And it's really hard, by the way, when you have it set to 32-bit float to get it to clip. You have to scream really loud, so I apologize for that. But I got it to clip, and so I zoomed into it and showed everybody last week at the end of last week's live stream what it looks like inside Adobe Audition. When you take that Adobe Audition and zoom all the way in, you can actually see what it does to the very peaks of a WAV file. 32-bit float versus 24-bit float, and that's in last week's video. I'm not probably going to do that in my uploaded video. I might add that at the very end. We'll see. That video is completely done editing. I just need to proof it one more time, make sure I have everything in it, and then I got to upload it. So hopefully that will be up before next Tuesday, and I apologize for that. Okay, back to the chat on the air. Thank you for joining me, Ernesto, and Used Up Productions is in the house as well. Thank you guys for joining me. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. I wanted to get into it before quarter after. If you have any comments or any questions about last week's comparison of those mics and how you can use, again, go to my contact page, which is in the notes below tonight. And then you fill out that form. I'll get alerted in my iPhone, and I will respond to you almost immediately from my iPhone. Also, it gets you access to me. So if you just want to be on my mailing list or you want to be able to communicate off channel back and forth to me, then just go ahead and fill out the form and make sure you let me know why you're communicating with me. If you want access to those DJI files, you can go ahead and fill out the form now. And as soon as that Google Drive is uploaded, I will add you to those who can privately view that folder. So, okay, so enough on that. Let's find some coffee to wet the whistle. Also, hit the like button tonight. It really helps the algorithm. If you haven't already, ring the bell. And if you're watching tonight and you can't chat, it's because I have subscriber-only chat enabled. So if you subscribe, 1 minute later, you can chat with us. And I'm perfectly fine with you subscribing and then unsubscribing. But I hope that you'll stay with us and stay a part of the channel. And I do try to live stream every week, and that's kind of unique about my channel. So I like to live stream, and then I periodically upload videos as well because I really like the interaction of being with you live. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go to, where is it? Slideshow and me. So this is a diagram I actually put together for a customer, a client of mine, that we've been doing a consult back and forth. And again, you can get a free 1-hour consult if you get stuck. So if you have the RodeCaster Pro or an ATEM and you're trying to figure out how to hook everything up and how to go live, if I can answer your questions and help you out within an hour of a free consult on Zoom, I'll be happy to do that. That's my gift back to the YouTube community. And then if you want to continue a relationship with me, I can answer all the questions about that consulting program when we're together on a Zoom call for the free call. And again, I love to get acquainted with my viewers. So we spend about 15 minutes just getting acquainted. And then the clock starts and I will answer whatever question. I'll consult away. I fire up the whole studio just like I do for my clients and try to answer all your questions. You can come with a notebook. And if you request ahead of time, you can even record that meeting with me, that free consult, and watch it back. And so anyway, this diagram I did right here was for a client. That is the lovely HOSA, for those of you like Hank that was asking me, or actually David was asking what a HOSA switch is. And here's a better look at a HOSA switch. It's not a complicated switch. It's used a lot in recording studios, and HOSA cables are very popular. I think they're very reliable, so I use them mostly for all the, if I'm going RCA to quarter inch, or RCA to 3.5, or quarter inch mono to 3.5, it doesn't matter. I usually use HOSA, and the shorter the cables, it's okay just to have the single line quarter inch cables unbalanced, and the double lines are balanced. It just gives you a better ground, and then you can do longer lengths of cables without any hum. But that's the main difference between the cables with one line and the cable with two lines. And I recommend the adapter from HOSA with two lines going from the HOSA switch to your ATEM, because the ATEM preamps are not the greatest preamps. They seem to pick up any bit of noise. And so the extra ground is really good for that. So the HOSA switch is pretty simple. Let's go back to the diagram so I can help maybe everybody understand what this really does. Well, before we do that, see the knob on the top? So it's designed to change between three outputs. So I want you to imagine one stereo input, right and left. So you plug in a right cable and a left cable. That could come from your RodeCaster Pro. That could come from your interface in your studio. It could come from a lot of places. But the idea is you got to get audio into the ATEM. Now, you could use a wireless Go mic and plug the receiver into your mic 1 or your mic 2 in your ATEM, and that would give you a microphone. That's perfectly fine. But if you want the audio pads and all the things that come with the RodeCaster Pro and all the things that you can do, like if you're going to podcast and you want to have your commercial programmed on a pad, you want to use the effects on the pad, you want to hit the foghorn, you want to do the rim shot, you want to do the applause, and you want to play all that in your live stream, you want to bring in a guest through an iPhone, then all of that can happen inside the RodeCaster Pro. Plus you can record, you can hook up two of these wireless Go mics, or the new wireless Go Pro, or the new Pro handheld microphone. You can hook two of these into the RodeCaster Pro without using a receiver. And these mic kits come with either one mic or two mics, and they all have a receiver, and my receiver is right here. And so you don't have to plug this into the RodeCaster Pro using a cable like this, and you would come out of the output 3.5. So you'd basically plug in right into 3.5 output like that. And then the other 2/4 inches ends of this HOSA cable, let's untangle it here. The other ends go to that. Can't. The other ends would plug into two channels on your RodeCaster Pro, and you would set it for line level inside the mic input section. And then this would then receive it, but you don't need these for these two mics. I can add two more if I had another receiver and two more of these mics, but two of these can be wirelessly connected because there's one of these receivers built into the RodeCaster Pro. So that's how you can get, not use the transmitter and get these wireless mics in there. And I use it all the time now for my consulting, so that I don't have to have this SM7B in my face when I'm trying to show things on my desk. I do like the sound of this, but I also like the sound of the Rode Wireless Go 2 microphone. So this is the HOSA cable, one of the cables that we're going to talk about for the HOSA. So let's go back in here. Let me close this charging case for the Rode Wireless Go 2. It's sold separately, and I added that to my kit. Let's go back to me and the slideshow here. And so this diagram shows you that you've got two cables, and I can bring you guys into this full screen by doing this right here. So you can see the RodeCaster Pro has 2 cables coming out of it, and it plugs into the far right back channel of the HOSA switch. And then then you have 3 outputs, and each of them have 2 1/4-inch jacks. So again, so you can go to 3 different sets of speakers in your studio. You could go to 2 sets of speakers and your ATEM Mini Pro, or you could just use it to switch between 2 speakers. And most people who do this professionally in a studio, we're going to have maybe 2 or 3 sets of monitors. Some really cheap monitors that sound like most people's sound systems that they have in their houses, maybe a boombox. Then you have some high-end speakers for doing all your mixing and mastering. They're very flat. They don't have any EQ on them. And you just listen to what the track really sounds like. So you could switch to that set of speakers. And then when you get everything ready, you want to burn a CD and get ready to burn a digital file to put out on all the music sites, or if you're going to still make CDs, then you would use those other 2 sets of speakers, and you would play that track in your studio in those speakers, and you would listen to it in your stereo speakers to make sure you have everything set up right. It sounds good in a car stereo, and it sounds good in professional speakers, and it sounds good in some middle-of-the-road speakers, maybe some speakers like Wharfdale's and different speakers out there that are mainly for listening to music, and they may have a little EQ curve in the midpoint. And so you really want to reference your track on those speakers. So then why in the world would you need something like this over there for in a studio like I have here for live streaming? And let me make this very clear. When I'm live, I turn my HOSA switch to channel 3, and 3 has one of these plugged into the right, one of these plugged into the left, and this side goes into mic input number 1 in my ATEM Mini. So now my speakers are off in my studio, and all the audio is going directly to my ATEM. When I'm recording videos in here on my ATEMs, or when I go live, I don't want my speakers on in my studio. So I use the switch to switch between my ATEM and my studio speakers. So my ATEM is in channel 3, and my studio speakers are in channel 1. And again, I can just switch between those by flipping the dial. And you can look at this again. So you got the big dial on top. 1 in my studio would be my studio speakers. 2 goes to my second ATEM Extreme ISO in my studio. And 3 goes to my first ATEM Mini Extreme ISO in my studio, because I have 2. So I could go live from either one of those. So if my first one fails, all I got to do is flip a couple switches in my studio, and I could go live to YouTube from the other one. So if one goes down, I have the other one already wired, ready to go. So now you may want to use it for 1 set of speakers and your ATEM. You may want to use the other free channel because you have 3 outputs. Remember, you have 1 input coming from whatever your audio device is. So I use a RodeCaster Pro 2. You might have a RodeCaster Pro. You might have a interface in your studio that has a right and left monitor out on the back of it. That's what you would plug into the inputs on the HOSA. And again, far right is where you put the right and left input from your audio device. And the 3 other channels coming out are on the left, 1, 2, and 3. And those would go to studio speakers or to your ATEM or to another location in your studio. Let's say you had an old school recorder, like a 8-track recorder, an ADAT machine. You could come out of that and record directly in the ADAT machine. So mostly now people just use this device to switch between different speakers in their studio, but because ATEMs are used for live streaming, they have streaming built into them. You need to get quality audio in there, and the way you do that is use the HOSA switch. So that's kind of an explanation of what the HOSA switch does. and why I recommend it. Because it's simple, it's not complicated. They sell for about 134 bucks. And I think it's a great solution. Hank was asking me earlier. Let's see here. Find it. Switch inputs on SuperSource here real quick. Input 2 will go to my laptop. So this is what Hank was asking me about. This is called the Mackie Big Knob. It's a passive 2x2 studio monitor controller. The HOSA is passive as well. What does that mean? You don't have to plug a power supply into it. It doesn't need any power. All it does is switch between your input going to channel 1, 2, or 3. Now this one is not exactly the same. The HOSA has 3 outputs and 1 input. Let's roll this sucker around right here and look at the back. And you can see you got main outputs, A and B, and you have inputs, A and B. So this has 2 inputs and 2 outputs. So again, you can use a device like this. You would have the RodeCaster Pro coming into inputs A, probably, and then you would have it going out either to your ATEM in output A or your ATEM in output B, and then you'd have your studio monitors coming out of the other channel, and then this has a knob on it as well, and you can switch it, and then it's got a mute button, it's got a volume control, it's got a mono, and again, a lot of studios would use something like this because they want to hear the stereo version and the mono version. And so I had another device to listen to everything mono built into my recording console. So I could do it in my recording console. So my HOSA switch was just a switch between my monitors. Now in my recording studio, guys, I literally had 1 channel in my subwoofer. And then I had another channel in my studio monitors. And then I had another channel that went to another set of monitors. And so I could hear just my subs if I wanted to, and I could also hear my studio monitors, and then I also had the ability to listen to my sub and my studio monitors. So again, because sometimes you want to mix the low frequencies separate from all the mids and the highs, and so that's why I could monitor my subwoofer completely separate. Now, how do you hook this up if you try that again, if you want to use a subwoofer? Well, you see on the top of this diagram, the HOSA is going over to monitors. Now, these are basic PreSonus monitors, and so they have one monitor has power to it, and it powers both speakers, and it has a little speaker cable, red and white, I think, or red and black, that you plug in from one monitor, the one on the right, to the one on the left. And then the 2 outputs would go from the HOSA switch, either 1, 2, or 3. It would go to the right and left inputs on the monitor speakers. But if you want to add a subwoofer, you would go to the subwoofer first, and then the subwoofer will have pass-through, and you would come from the subwoofer then up to your speaker right and left. And that's the way my studio is set up. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute, and I'll show you my desk. So again, from the HOSA, if you just have desktop speakers, then you'd go straight from the HOSA. One of the channels, 1, 2, or 3, would go to the speakers for the room. From the RodeCaster Pro to the input on the HOSA. From the HOSA over to the speakers. And from another channel in the HOSA, you're going to go 1/4-inch mono on both sides, balanced if you have them, down to a 3.5 mini jack. And that's what these cables do. They convert the 2 inputs. 2 inputs go to one 3.5 output. So this is the kind of cable that you're going to use to go from the HOSA to your ATEM. And I have 2 of these in my studio, one going to my Extreme ISO number 1, and the other one going to my Extreme ISO number 2. And that's channel 2 and 3 coming out of my HOSA. and channel 1 goes to my JBL sub, and then from my JBL sub, it splits out to my 2-room speakers. So before I show you my desk, let's just pause there and see if we have any questions tonight in the chat. So let me go back to this and let's bring chat back on the air. We'll get this one off the air here. So this is what Hank was asking earlier. Hi, Keith. Interesting topic for tonight. Question, is the HOSA switch in any way similar to the Mackie Big Knob passive 2x2? And it is, except for the passive 2x2 has 2 inputs and 2 outputs, and the HOSA has 1 input and 3 outputs. And so if you want to have 3 different locations in your studio to be able to switch speakers to, then you would be able to do that with a HOSA. But if you needed 2 inputs to switch between and 2 outputs, then the Big Knob by Mackie would be the way to go, Hank. So I think we answered that question. And then you had a follow-up question here. Hi, Keith. Big Knob is conjunction with old Behringer mixer to switch between speakers and headsets. Dropped the Big Knob when I got the RodeCaster Pro. Yeah. So again, I'm recommending this switch so that you can change, because you only have a right and left coming out of your RodeCaster Pro 2. You could use the headphone outs, but those are designed for headphones. So I don't want to use up any of my headphone outs in case I need to have 4 guests in the studio. Then I need a set, or I'll have to give my set to them. Normally, what I liked about my RodeCaster Pro 2 is 2 people could wear the headset from channel 1 of the headphones, because there was a 3.5 jack on the front of the RodeCaster Pro and then a 1/4-inch jack in the back for headphone output 1. And then there was 3 more 1/4-inch outputs on the back. So the RodeCaster Pro version 1 and 2 has 4 headphone outs and 4 mic inputs. So you can have 4 guests in the studio, and you can also bring one in through Bluetooth on your phone if you wanted to in your studio with the RodeCaster Pro 2 or the RodeCaster Pro 1. If you buy the RodeCaster Pro Duo, it has 2 inputs and it has still 1 output. So again, because you only have 1 output, I'm using the HOSA switch to let me send that 1 output to either my speakers or to my ATEM 1 or to my ATEM 2. All of them individually, never simultaneously, because it's not a splitter, it is a switch. So you got to throw the switch to change the output channels. So hopefully that answers you. And Hank got rid of his Big Knob. Okay, let's go down here. Good to have you, Tony. We're talking about the HOSA switch in my studio and why I recommend it to a bunch of my consulting clients to help them be able to switch their monitors on and off when they're live streaming. So it's good to have you. Pulse to Profit, from bedside to business ventures. Hey, Keith, I'm on the live. Well, cool. A little commercial there for you. Good to have you in the chat tonight and live with me, Tony. Laugh out loud. Mackie Big Knob, Keith Big Knob. Okay, so I guess that's a compliment. Thank you. Tessering, just here. Hello, Keith. Good to have you. I hope I pronounced that right. We'll get back to that question here in a little bit, Joe. Thank you for asking for likes. Must, welcome. I have an ATEM Mini Extreme ISO and 1 camera angle. I have a green screen in the background. When I switch the cam to program mode, I have my key with the upstream key. So when I switch the camera to program mode, I guess there's some missing stuff in this question, but when I switch to super source, I have no idea how to get the key back in the super source. You can't use your your chroma key in super source. Sorry, but it's true. So there's no way to do it. That's one of the challenges. You'll have to actually get an inline chroma key or device, and Blackmagic makes one of those now. I'll bring it up on the air here. Please stand by. Okay. So here it is. It's called the Ultimate 12 HD Mini. It's $495. You plug your camera into it, and then from it, you go into your ATEM channel. And then anytime you bring that camera, you'll have a key on it, because all of the keying for green screen is done inside of it. Plus, your key is going to be about 3 or 4 times better. So it's just a better keyer. And that's the only way you're going to be able to bring it into SuperSource. And again, that's one of the things that I teach in my consulting. And so that's the easy solution. It's going to cost you $500 plus tax. And you have to have one of those for every camera. You said you only have one camera. So you only need one Ultramat 12 HD. And then the other versions are for going up to 4K and 8K. And then the Ultramat 12 HD, again, I'll bring that back on. It gives you just more features. There's more things that you can do. There's more outputs, and you can look at those and check them out. I don't know any of those, but I am going to get an Ultimate 12 HD Mini this year. It's on my purchase list, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. So I hope that helps answer your question, but thanks for joining us. You're welcome. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll continue hanging out with us, because you can learn a lot here on Tuesday nights, and you can learn a lot from my channel. And once I do get that Ultimate 12 HD Mini, I will do a couple videos on it. There's one right now on Adam Tao's channel. He has one. And Aaron Parecki did a video on it. So I'm sure there's some other guys that have done a video on that. But again, there's no keying built into SuperSource. So you can only bring the different channels in. You can put a key on top for Luma, and you can put a DVE on top, but you can't use the chroma keyer for that channel any longer when you're in SuperSource, because it's not built in to the SuperSource windows, and that's why you can't use it. Tim Morrow, thank you for joining us from Melbourne, Australia. It's great to have you. Musty, thanks. It's impossible to have an ATEM Mini that goes into the Extreme. So 2 ATEMs. Well, I have 2 ATEM Extreme ISOs because I want the extra channels. And I'll tell you why. And I get musty is that there's 2 outputs in the ATEM Extreme and Extreme ISO. If you buy the ACI models, they have 2 HDMI outputs, and they both have a matrix. One's on the front, so you can take any one of your inputs and assign it to output 1. And then in the software, there's another output. So what I do, and I'll bring up the software here real quick. So what I do up here in my ATEM Extreme ISO number 2, I'm using output 1 and output 2 to come into this one, and it comes into channel 2 and 3. So I can assign from my first Extreme ISO any 2 channels into my second Extreme ISO. So yeah, I lose 2 inputs, but I get all the other, I have access to all the other inputs on my Extreme ISO number 2. So it has 8 inputs, and so I can bring all 8 of those inputs in 2 at a time. So if I'm demoing things and I need different angles in my studio, and that particular client needs to be able to see my desk, and they also need to be able to see my multi-view or my SuperSource, then I can bring that in from my Extreme ISO number 2, and I can show that and demo everything, and I use it all the time. So that's how I bring in ISO number 2 into extreme ISO number 1. And again, I lose 2 of the channels in number 1, but count them. I have 8 in number 2, and I have 6 more left in number 2. So that gives me that. I have 2 super sources, one in extreme 1, extreme 2. I also have all the keys. So it's very similar to a 2ME, but I did this before the 2ME, the new 2ME came out, and mine will stream, mine will encode, and mine will also record ISO tracks. So I can record in my studio, if I wanted to, 8 in my extreme ISO number 2, and I can get 6 more recorded in my extreme ISO number 1 if I want to, and I'll have that all on 2 discs. I can bring it in my editing software, and I could edit all those cameras. So that's going to be really important when I finally get Studio B built, because I'll be able to bring cameras in from Studio B on streaming bridges and bring those in from my ISO number 2 when I need them. And so I could get up and go to Studio B, and I could have 2 cameras live in Studio B coming into this studio, and I could cut between 2 cameras in the other studio, or I could cut in that studio and just send it into the program in this studio. So I know that's a little complicated. I apologize if that's blowing up your brain. So why not a macro for green screen problem? It still doesn't work for super source. Good to have you here, Akil from Germany, as always. Great to have you. Akil, Camille, I think I already said, yeah, I asked how to pronounce your name. I've got 2 Ultimate Minis, real recommendations. So yeah, so go ahead, Camille, give us your score 1 to 10 on the keying. So if you've keyed inside an ATEM and then you're keying now in your Ultimate, what do you think the percentage difference is? So an ATEM key would be on a scale from 1 to 10, maybe 6 or 7, and the Ultimate would be maybe 8, 9, or 10. Give us that score. ATEM a score and Ultimate a score for doing a green screen key and getting a nice, good quality key, because I know they're great. I just have not had one to play with. So Pulse to Profit from Bedside to Business Ventures. Just got cable from Guitar Center. Cool. Got the cable from Guitar Center. Awesome. Okay. So, and I'm pretty sure that is a client of mine. If it is, put your name in the chat so I can acknowledge you if you want to be. Okay. Are you going to buy the new ATEM Constellation 2ME or 4K? I'm struggling with that, and I'll tell you why. What I like about the ATEM desktop versions is they encode, they record, and they stream. You can't encode, you can't record ISO tracks, and you can't stream from those devices. Now, the console, let me make sure you didn't ask me ATEM Constellation 2ME. I always get these mixed up. So let me just look at this real quick. Go back to product page. What is this called? The ones that really caught my attention is the Television Studio HD8 ISO. But yeah, the Constellations, they don't have encoding or recording or streaming. You have to buy Hyperdecks, or you got to take your extreme ISO. And I don't have the SDI version. So I'd have to buy converters to come out of the Constellation and send some of the outputs to one of my ATEM Extreme ISOs. The best models for that would be a ATEM Extreme ISO SDI or SDI ISO, so that I could record every one of those tracks. So if I did get one of those, I would have to sell my 2 Extreme ISOs and buy 1 Extreme SDI ISO for the recording, and I would probably then stream from it as well using the encoder. Obviously, I could buy a Web Presenter 4K and then stream 4K, and I would do that if I bought the Constellation 4Ks. And it is exciting that they came out, the 2ME and the 4ME at NB. What is it called? Man. NAB. So, but again, back to the HOSA. So if you have a RodeCaster Pro 2 in your studio and you want to send the audio to a number of places, the HOSA switch is the switch for you. You can use any kind of speakers. Obviously, you'll have to buy a different adapter if it's not 1/4 inch to the back of the speakers. If you got to go 1/4 inch to RCA, you'll have to buy those cables. I have 2 of those hooked up in the studio tonight, which we're going to be demoing here in a bit. So that's the speakers that one of my clients purchased, and that's why this is the demo that I did. I made that slide for him, and then I perfected it a little bit more for tonight, cleaned it up for prime time. So thank you. Push the like button. I appreciate it. I have 1 ME, 1 Extreme, and 1 Extreme ISO. Wow. So good for you. So do you have all those hooked up together? Akil, let me know. Keen is much better. ATEM would be 6 out of 10. Ultimate 9 out of 10. So at least there's room for improvement, but thank you for that score, Camille. I appreciate that very much. Tony says, just got a whole bunch of new gear, including a Yamaha MG10XG, 2 SM50S58s. Yeah, I love those mics. 2 PTZ optics, movie SE cameras for the sports show. I'm taking it to the road in a few weeks. Wow, Tony is taking his sports show that he's producing onto the road. Tony, pop a link into the description tonight. Or actually, email it to me, and I'll pop it in to the description tonight, and you guys can go check out Tony from Quick Tech Solutions sports show that he produces, and we're coming into football season, so hopefully those guys will be talking about football. But yeah, Tony, if you email that to me, I will pop it in the chat tonight. The 4K Ultimate is better, but much more expensive. So, Camille, do you have the 4K Ultimate? Did you say that? And if you do, are you saying that would you would get a 10 for the keying? Let me know. DJ Ware, that sounds pretty cool. Quick Tech Solutions, yeah. Tony is dialing up the gear for his podcast, audio and video, Tony's podcast that he hosts or he produces. On the Ultimate, you've got more possible settings. Yeah, 4 keying, so you can really clean up. And remember, what the key is, you put a green screen or a blue screen or even a black. You can put black behind you, but if you have black hair, then it'll key you out and you'll look like an invisible man. That's why we use green and blue in the background. But if you have blue eyes, you would want to use green in the background. If you have green eyes, green in the background, or blue in the background. If you have a green shirt, you would want to do blue in the background. If you have a blue shirt or blue stripes, you want to do green in the background. And what the key does is it keys out the background, and then you can put whatever image you want in the back. I have a video here on my channel. I actually did a live stream where I was shooting from Studio B in my garage, and I used a key in that video, and then I did a follow-up video on how I used that key, and that was from the ATEM Mini Pro, so it wasn't from an Ultimate, but that is a great device, and I give a shout-out for Blackmagic Design purchasing Ultimate and now putting them out and making them way more affordable than they were originally. You can also sell one of your kidneys to buy the 4K. Mini and Extreme in 1, 2, and 3 of the Extreme ISO. Wow. So, Mini and the Extreme. So, are you using the 2 outputs, Akil, from your Extreme into the ATEM? So, you got the ATEM, the Mini, and the Extreme in 1, 2, and 3 of the Extreme ISO. So, that's a yes. So, what that means is Akil can bring in, wow, you could bring in 4 from your ATEM, then you're going to lose 2 and 3 in your Extreme, and you could get 6 more channels in your Extreme. Didn't you say you had 3 devices? Akil, are you not using that 3rd device in conjunction? Not clear on what you're asking. If you will email me the link, Tony, to your sports show that you produce, then I'll pop that link into the chat, because you can't post links in my chat. It's not enabled. So when I see that email come through, Tony, I will pop that link in so everybody can click on it later. And people that are watching this video delayed can go check out your sports channel. Camille says, no, 4K Ultimate too expensive. I get it. DJ Ware says, is the show being set up in a building, or will you be going mobile to shoot the game? And that's a Tony question. So I'll let Tony answer that question. Okay, we are going to be going over to the table, and I'm not going to, I guess I could set up chat. Let me do this. Ugh. See if I'll be able to see that from over there, maybe. Check. Okay, I'm on my wireless Go mic right now. And I am going to take my mouse over there, and I'll see if I can still do chat. So I want to cut cameras here. So let's go back to me and the logo. We're going to go over on the table. Any other comments before we get over there? And Tony, if you send me that link, I want to pop that in the chat here as soon as that comes through. And I'm not seeing it, so I will do it later. So you guys should still have audio from my wireless Go 2. We're going to go over in the table. I'm going to switch cameras. Let me bring up Mix Effects on my phone here. I'll pull my iPad. I can't find the ability to switch, so let's go over here. Leave my logo on here. Okay. Let me get my chair out of the shot here. Sorry about the rolls. Cool. Move my monitor around here. Switch to that view. And you guys should have me on the table. It's a little dark. Get the chair out of the way. Monitor out of the way. Let me change the ISO here. It's a little hotter. Cool. So on the table tonight, I have the RodeCaster Pro. This is my 2nd edition. And this is my digital stage box that goes with my PreSonus 32 SC board. And again, that board is 32 channels. This is only 16 and 8 outputs, 16 inputs, but they are dual connectors, so I can use these instead of direct boxes. So I'm buying another one of these. It's not, I haven't ordered it yet, but I'll have 2 of these. But I need to put these in boxes. So I'm going to set this down. And then I was donated recently, because I do some volunteer work, I was donated this old tape deck CD player. So let me move my iPad up here. Just happened to my mix effects here. The switcher view here. Okay. So I was donated, I received a couple things here I want to talk about tonight. Set those up here. So I received this and this power supply below it. I'll pull this tape deck back just a little bit so you can see it. It is a power conditioner. It's by CTA and it works great. I tested it today. It came in this case right here. And I kept planning on buying one of these. But every time I went to pull the trigger and buy it on Amazon, I couldn't get myself to buy it. And I'm going to contribute it to just a gut instinct, because I received this one, and it has it's a really nice case. I'll show you guys who it's from. I got the covers right here. Here is the front cover, and they're very well built. This is by Cases. It's a subsidiary of Zero Corporation. They're not a sponsor tonight. So you got the covers, and I cleaned them all up. It's pretty beat up, but it's from a friend of mine's church, and he doesn't need this stuff anymore. They were using it when they had a flood in their old building, and then they were using it as a portable set. They had 2 JBL passive speakers, which I haven't picked up yet, but I will take those. No amplifiers, so I'll have to buy an amplifier for those 2 JBLs. I think they're 1,000 watt on each side, so I'm going to actually have those as backup speakers or fill speakers. And then the cover, front and back, are almost identical, but the bottom or the back does not have a handle on it, and this says rear on it, and this one says, I think, front on it, right? I can't see that yet, front. So set those back down. And so I was visiting that church a couple of weeks ago. I recorded the sons, had a band. One son, my friend's a pastor. One son leads worship in a church in Pasco, Washington. You guys can go check it out. His name is Eric. He and his brother Greg, who leads worship in the worship team. He's the worship director for the church, and his brother's a worship director. Greg does worship for his father, and his father, Bob North, is a great musician. I met him years and years and years ago at a youth camp, and we've been friends ever since. He's been in Sunnyside at this church doing youth ministry for 10 years and then 20 years as a pastor. So we've been friends since before he ever went to Sunnyside over 30 years ago. And so Greg, his son, took me in the back room and said, hey, you can have any of this stuff. We just want the powered monitors. And so I looked it over and put some of it in my rig this week. There's a big snake too, but I forgot to bring it in tonight. Or did I? Yes, I did. But it's a 32 channel snake. It's got 8 XLR outputs, and then it's got 8 1/4-inch outputs. So not sure how I'll use that yet because I want to use digital snakes, but I wanted to show you this case. So we're going to be racking this up tonight. I got cables under here. I'm being careful. And then I also, this was a case actually I was going to buy, or very similar to it. You can see it. These are hard plastic cases, and here are the covers. And this is SKB. And I looked at these cases and was going to get one of those. But again, now I have them. And they'll be in my kit. And again, I'll probably be running sound up there for them because we're talking about an outdoor event eventually in Sunnyside. Just one of my hobbies is to go out and do these events. And some of them I'll get some money for. Some of them it's just all volunteers. Some of it's just cover my cost or cover my food. But again, it's one of my passions to help people out. So I have 2 cases now. So one of these is going to be, I'm going to need 3 of these. One of these is going to be backstage with my digital snakes in it. So one for the right side of the stage, one for the left side of the stage. And I will be buying a patch network by Personas. Eventually, it's like $400 some. Right now, I can daisy chain digital snakes. So you can go in an A and out on B. But if this fails, it will stop both digital stage boxes from working. So if you do a network, you go to the network and then you come from the network to one side of the stage and the network to the other side of the stage. And then I also eventually will come out of one of these sides with a 8 in and 8 out for back by the drums. And then I'll put the monitors, backstage monitors for the bass player and the keyboard player and the drummer will all go in that back 8 in and 8 out stage box. And then I'll have the drums in the inputs. And then the keyboard and lead guitar and all that stuff will be on one side of the stage. And then the speakers and all that stuff, the backup vocals, the main vocals and all that stuff will be on the other side of the stage. And that way I can have shorter cable runs from those 2 stage boxes on either side to the speakers. And so that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to rack this up off camera tonight. And so I'll show it to you guys next week when we get back live. But I want to work on the other box tonight. But before we do that, also in one of the cases was this carve-in EQ. And so I probably won't, this will probably go to Goodwill or I'll put it on Marketplace. But I'll be doing all my EQing through my Personas board. So I don't need this. But this was in one of the cases. And then this carve-in power conditioner, but it doesn't work according to Greg. So I did plug it in, it powers up, but I haven't played with it. It had 2 lights on it, but they're busted out. So this is probably going to just go in if it works, I may keep it as a backup in one of the racks just in case, but if it doesn't work, it's going in the trash. So, okay, so I'm pretty positive this will be, and I'm still torn. What I'm considering this case for is my wireless microphone. That's why I have the hookups right here, the rack mounting kit that came with my Sennheiser microphone. So here's the kit. Have no clue how it goes together. I have to figure that out. Right now I have that microphone in this case, and I could keep it in there and just throw it on top and then use this for mobile for travel, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do that or not. What I like about this case, which really makes me torn, is, and you can put the, you can open up this Velcro and put your antennas right out the back like that. So I love that. The antennas will pop up there. But what I really like is you have a place for your microphone and power cords and all that. And so this may stay in here. I haven't decided yet. but I did get the rack ears out tonight to play around with it. What we're going to do is we're going to put my power supplies in tonight. So I have this pile PCO 850, and so that's going to go in this case. And then I have this Furman, and I may put the Furman on the stage in the other case, or vice versa. I don't know yet, but we are going to rack up this one tonight. Because I just wanted to talk about how important these racks are, because they protect your gear, and then everything's in there. You can have it all plugged in. So I'm debating about putting a pull-out monitor in this case, so I could bring in my ATEM, and I have a drawer that I could put my ATEM in and slide that drawer out with my ATEM in there, and then I could have a pull-out, flip-up monitor that I can use from here. I haven't quite decided. This case is a little taller than I wanted to go, and you can see this case is not as tall. So it really depends if I need these extra this extra rack space, because that's about the difference. But I definitely like the height of this, because if I was standing up, I could have my laptop on the table, because my table is at bar height right now. And when I go to a concert venue, I have it a notch lower than that. So this is the perfect height for a laptop. This is a little tall, but it really depends on how much stuff I get in the rack. So one of these is going to go on the stage, and the other one is going to be with me at the sound table. So we'll set this over here. And then I just want to set this down for a minute, because I absolutely got excited when I saw this tape deck. Because I have a lot of things, like this is a cassette player, and it's also a CD player, and it's also a recorder. And this is pretty normal for churches to have these kind of devices. They're not using them now because they're doing everything digitally. But I like the idea of being able to use, this is my one of my son's CDs from his band, Mr. Orange. We're going to play a clip of this tonight. You're going to hear it live. But I love that being available. I also have some cassettes that I want to record from this into my RodeCaster Pro 2 and transfer them from the cassettes to digital. So some of my old talks when I used to travel and speak, and high school assembly videos, I just have never copied them to digital. And so I want to copy those files to digital, and that's what this is for. So this was available in one of the cases as well, so I absolutely love it. And then I have this power supply here. So that gives me the 3 power supplies that I need. One for stage box left, one's for stage box right, one's for back in this at the sound table. So I have the power supplies, the conditioners that I need, but I do need to rack mount this, because I do want to take this with me when I go to do events, because I can plug CDs in it and play music at the events, because I own a bunch of CDs. Eventually I'll get rid of this and go digital, but right now I want to be able to record the cassettes back to my RodeCaster Pro, and then it gives me a CD player. It may not stick around, but I just thought it was really cool, because you can't find these anymore. This is a Denon. They're really hard to find in good shape. I bought some CD cleaner today to clean the heads in this, the laser, and I bought or ordered on Amazon some tape cleaning equipment, and then some spray to go in, pull it apart, and spray all the switches to get rid of any corrosion inside this device, because I plan on keeping this in my kit. I won't get rid of it. I may not use it, but I'm going to keep this because I've been looking for one, and like I said, it was a gift, and I absolutely love it. So I got 2 power supplies. I got the equalizer, which I'm not going to use. I got the CD player and the cassette player, and again, I have them plugged into the RodeCaster Pro right now. So I've got the cassette coming in 2 channels and the CD player coming in 2 channels, so I can actually play some music tonight. So I think I have those channels muted over there, so let me get some music going right now. I think it was track 2 that I liked.
walls are whispering. Will we hear them screaming or laughing? But if there's laughter, would there be people screaming for the answer? And as we watch these people try to conjure up laughter, will they be laughing from this pain or dying? And we say,
Okay, I turned it off before they get into the screamo. So CD player seems to be working good. I didn't have a chance to EQ it. I didn't have a chance to pan it right and left. Literally was hooking this up right before we went live because I thought, you know what? I want to play a little bit of old school CD on here. And again, that is my son's Mr. Orange. That was one of the bands he was in. This is his Kino CD. This is when he was signed by a record label in California, and they went down and did some touring, and they produced the CD down there. And there was actually a network that played the intro music to this. I think it was called 10 Things Every Guy Should Do or something like that. And they actually licensed the main track on this as their music intro. No singing, just the music. So that was played every time in the intro and every time in the outro. That's my son's big name for fame. So then one of my good friend's son, Scott Ryan, had a CD, and I love these. So I want to transfer all these to digital because I've already paid for them. But I've got a lot of music like this. This is a Mr. Orange still in the wrap. And there's the picture. I'll bring this over there. There's the band. Yeah, not very bright. See if I can get this refocused for me back here. Check. Check, test. Okay, just wanted to make sure I still have audio. Sorry, guys. Just freaked out there for a minute. Woo! Okay, so that's it on that. I have some CDs, so I wanted to use those. This is another friend of mine, Fraser. He had a band a while back. It was called the Fraser Wombat Trio. He's a million times better singer now. Worked really hard on it, and he's amazing. I love to hear him in local restaurants and different places here in the local area. He plays a lot. And again, some old cassettes that I really want to transfer to digital, and that's going to be able to be done right here. I got one in there, so this one I'm going to listen to tonight. I haven't heard it in about 25 years. So I'll be able to play that. It'll be great. Another friend of mine, Chris Lloyd, he had a country single. I think you guys can see that a little bit. Let me walk up to the... So he and I have done some events together. And so really like Chris. He's got a great voice. He doesn't need a sound system. He's got a really, really loud voice and amazing. I'm hoping to do an event with him here soon. And because I've had a relationship with all these guys, then I can take them to some of these venues for me, and they just do it for fun to go play. And so it's really fun to have those guys on the road with me. So again, having the second RodeCaster Pro 2 in the studio is great because I could do all this right here. I can test this kind of equipment. I can set this up in my garage when I need to. So I have two RodeCaster Pro 2s and I absolutely love it. I can actually take this out to do podcasting. I've taken this out and done training. I'm training on a RodeCaster Pro 2 right now for a local group that's doing a podcast. So I'll be training them again, I think, on Wednesday evening. And so they have their own RodeCaster Pro 2. I borrowed their DJI 2 kit. So shout out to them. Okay, so let's slide this over. Put the headphones over here. Get my screwdrivers out. And let's just rack up the power supply. If I had the one that I have in my rack over here, sometimes these will go on the bottom, sometimes they go on the top, sometimes you want to leave a space. So if I do a slide out monitor, I'll probably do it like this. But for tonight, I'm just going to rack it up here on the top. Wrong screw. And a lot depends on where the outlets are. So we're going to go around and look. And so all the outlets in this, I'll turn it around. I think you guys can see that. Not a lot of light. Let me get some more light on there. Hey Siri, turn the flashlight on, please.
It's on now.
So, we can do better than that. So there are the outlets, so they're facing down with the ground on the bottom, and so just about everything I want to plug in, I'll be able to plug in along there, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and these last 3 are divided, so you have the type power strips that have a block that you got to plug in will fit. So then what I would probably do in this case, this doesn't have the mounts on the back. So that's one of the downsides of this case. This one doesn't have it in the back as well. I like them when they're on both sides because you can rack things in the back. And you can rack things in the front when they're not super deep. And this power supply that I have in there is only this deep. So you can see I have this much more space in the rack, so I could have another device behind it, a step down. Like if I wanted to have a network or a switch or something in here. But for right now, I'm just going to put that power supply in here on the top. Actually, I want to add one more thing here. Ugh. Set my iPad up there. and unplug. I had to use RCA to 1/4 inch tonight to be able to bring in the CD player because it has RCAs out. Cool. And this is plugged into this power supply. So let me turn this off. Now unplug this. Got so much junk in the studio right now. This rack has been, the ears on this CD tape player have been bent before. I think that's cross-threading. So what's going on here? Having issues with one of these holes. So got to check and see if I'm using the right size screws. Sorry about that. Pretty much done wrestling with that case tonight because it's almost 5:30. But what I want to do, guys, is catch up in the chat, see if you guys have any comments. Bring my iPad back over here. Go, plug it in, wake up my computer. Okay, there's Tony's link. Copy link. Okay, there's that link in the chat. Sorry about that. I am sweating like a pig right now. Let's get the drink over here. Let's cool the body off. Hey Siri, turn the flashlight off, please.
It's off now.
Okay. I do want to see how that'll rack mount that Sennheiser handheld microphone. I did an unboxing here on the channel. You can go check that out. And it does come with a plate to put 2 units together because it's a single transmitter and a single receiver. I want to get a body pack as well. And they also make a on top of camera model, which is really cool. So I'm torn between getting another rack mountable one or the one that would go on top of the camera because it would be a better wireless than all of the 2.4 megahertz wirelesses that I have. So it'd be nice to have another source with a body pack for a regular lavalier microphone that's not 2.4 gigahertz. Even though that technology is getting better and better if you follow that technology. So let's go chat on the air here and let's just go back here and catch up. So Johnny is the guy that I've been helping hook up his RodeCaster Pro 2. We hooked up his HOSA switcher today. So shout out to Johnny who's in the live stream. He is going to be doing his own channel, a podcast / video podcast as well as audio. He's been a nurse and he's got lots to share, lots of influence that he can help with in his area and his realm of influence. Just like the rest of us. So it's exciting to have people discover me here on YouTube and be able to help them and consult with them and teach them how to do this stuff. So it's great to have you on here tonight, Johnny. And now I know Pulse to Profit is Johnny. So that's cool. So everybody say hi to Johnny. Tony's responding to DJ Ware about his remote shoots, a couple locations he's going to be shooting at with the PTZ optic cameras. Those are really cool because you can remote control them. One of my clients, they are renting a building, and in that building are 2 PTZ cameras they can't use. But they're mounted in there, and I was explaining to them what they do, and they're debating between going to like a Blackmagic camera for portability or adding their own PTZ camera inside that lease that they're using so they can fire it up and use it when they're doing their live events in that venue. I think this is for someone else, Tony, right? Did I have a ghost? I think I wasn't completely switched between the 2 channels. So that was on me, Akil. Occasionally, if you hold down the auto button, it goes between 2 cameras. I'm glad I left that camera just in time because it timed out. I could feel it coming. So if you stop halfway, it looks like this. Let me just do it in the software. My mouse went rogue. So I think I had it a little bit like this, where both of them weren't transitioned from. So I hope I didn't have a big ghost tonight. But that's how that happens. So my ghost. Second camera key. No, it was just, I didn't transition all the way. You got to watch that when you hit the auto transition button. Cool sound. Yeah, that was my son's band. I played you guys a clip that was recorded in my old studio. Again, I got to clean the CD player out because I can tell it's not quite as clear as it should sound. I've listened to that CD a million times, so I know the quality of it. But I did just bust it into the RodeCaster Pro tonight so you guys could hear it. And I'm having a gain issue on one channel, so I had to set the RodeCaster Pro to guitar inputs, and which boosts the signal. So I was able to get the right channel working right before we went live. So I got to figure out what's going on there. Again, I'll take that apart and I'll clean all the contacts and make sure that I make it as new as I possibly can, plus clean the CD and the tape player. So glad you liked it. Yeah, I am producing my wife's podcast. I will pop the most recent one that just went live a few weeks ago. Let me just change to me and my laptop. This is my wife's YouTube channel. I moderate it and take care of it. I just added audio podcasts to her channel, and there they are. I've never done that before, but all of her podcasts are right here in a big pile. Then most of what we do is uploaded videos. I think we did one live at one time. There it is. That was our live season 2 finale. But her most recent video is this one right here. They went on a little shopping spree. That it's all about birth. So it's not really for most of us on this channel, but my wife is a midwife, and her channel is a chance for her to get a lot of the information her clients need to hear, because you can only teach them so much when you're working with them for 9 months. They can only download so much. So I convinced my wife to do her podcast so she could help people know how to have healthier births, how to learn a lot of things. And so they went shopping. That podcast is all about the things they thought were really good that they picked up at the store and things they picked up and bought, so they could say that these are not that great of products, because there's lots of things sold for mama and baby that aren't really important. I'm on that podcast. You'll hear my voice in the background, even though my audio was a little messed up for that podcast. I don't know what was going on, but I didn't do a lot of talking in that one. But I host it. I produce it off camera. And so I do chime in just like a radio show where you hear that one person in the background that's not on camera if you tune into their live feed. So again, that's Shannon's podcast. It's called More About Birth. So I will copy this in the link tonight. You guys can check that podcast out. Okay, let me find my mouse. My mouse is going rogue tonight. Seriously, where'd it go? I have too many monitors. There it is. I see you. Bang. Crazy. Okay. Back over here to chat. Let's catch up. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Maybe me putting that case together. Here's that link again for the sports show that Tony is producing. So you guys can check that out. Thanks for the shout out link. You're welcome, Tony. Johnny says, from bedside to business venture. Thanks, buddy. No, it was for Keith. I was asking if you were going to do a video of building the mobile rack behind you. Yeah, I am going to do a video, Tony, of building the mobile rack. I plan on shooting that on Thursday. I took the whole day off. I've been really busy. My consulting business has been taking off. A lot of springtime, a lot of people seem to do podcasts and stuff, or launch podcasts in the springtime. And so I've been doing a lot of consulting, and I still have room for more. But so if someone wants a free consult, let me know. And then I have programs if they want to continue for 90 days. And after that, I'm not looking for a codependent relationship. I'm only looking to make people independent, and they can be interdependent with me, so we can help each other when we need to. That's how the relationships go forward after the 90 days. So I really like to get people up and going and up and started. And again, hopefully they'll continue consuming the channel and continue coming and being with me in live streams. But they have their own things to do, just like you do, Tony. But I do want to do a video of building that stuff together. Now I'm caught up So I have an announcement to make. In May, which is like next week, we're going to do another Zoom gathering. I don't care if it's been a quarter or not. I think it has been. What does that mean? That means that anybody who wants to can be on a Zoom call with me. It's not live. We don't record it. I will not have recording enabled. It's just a town hall meeting where we can all get together. I'm not the focus. I'm only the facilitator. It's my way of hosting all of you together, and everybody gets a chance to talk and ask each other questions. Our format's going to change a little bit. So you can sign up for that, again, just by going to my contact page. Same place you would go if you wanted to. Okay, that mouse died, evidently. Let me show you that, guys, that again. So that's the consulting page. So contact for a free consult. But if you have never signed up for anything on my channel, that's the best place to go, because you can leave a message there and say, I want to join the Zoom. And so I'll send you an invite. That's going to be in a couple weeks. I want to announce it tonight. It's going to be on a Tuesday night, 2 weeks from tonight. And so you can put that on your schedule. We'll have a 1 hour stream that night, live stream. We'll take a 10-minute break, and then we'll be on that Zoom call together. Anybody that wants to join me. I'm hoping to have a couple of my clients are going to be special guests. I'm going to introduce them if they'll let me in that live stream. And so I'd love to have you guys all there. I'd love to give you kind of some ideas of which direction we're going to go. Again, that link over there is in the description, so you can go back there and find it. But what we're going to do tonight is, what I want you to do is come prepared with the most exciting product for you from NAB 2024. Now, keep in mind, you may have the same one. So what you're going to do is, when you get the invite and we open up the Zoom call, you can, or you can email me, because I'll respond to everybody. So you can just respond to me and say, I'm planning on talking about this device at that Zoom. And so I just want you to be prepared to share why that device is exciting to you from NAB 2024. So it might be something from Rode, it might be something from Blackmagic, it might be something from Atomos, it might be something from DJI, it might be something from all of those manufacturers that were there. There's hundreds upon hundreds of manufacturers. There's so many exciting products. I'm still playing catch up from NAB, but that will be the opening topic. Everybody will get a chance to share their favorite topic. I'm going to introduce a couple special guests. And then if you've never been on a Zoom with us before, I will probably give you a couple extra minutes to tell us a little bit about yourself. And then we're going to actually have a time to chat back and forth. So we're actually going to have like a break where you guys can chat back and forth. It's going to be a little bit crazy because it's like a room full of people. I might do a couple of breakout rooms. I haven't decided yet, but that will be in 2 weeks on Tuesday night, following the regular live stream, 1 hour that night. And so right around 5:10, 5:15, we will be together in Zoom. I'll open up the Zoom about 10 after 5, and then you guys can pop in. And once everybody gets logged in, we're going to close the room, and we're going to have a conversation. So you got to be on time. We're going to have like a 5 or 6 minute grace period, and then we're going to close the room so that those guys can just talk, and you can stay as long as you want. It usually lasts about an hour, hour and 15 minutes, but we'll go longer. Last time I talked to 2 people after we ended that wanted to continue to chat, and it's an absolute blast for me to see you guys face to face, as well as have you meet each other. And I want to build that community 4 times a year here on the channel. Okay. So there's that more about birth link right there for my wife's podcast. Again, that's video and audio. Pretty much only do 1 camera. So just keep that in mind. The girls wore the wireless, they wore the wireless microphones the last time, which was a lot easier for them than using pod mics on stands on the table. So that was really cool. Then Johnny says, from Bedside to Business Ventures, I'm so grateful for your help and patience. I'm becoming an engineer myself. Yeah, well, I only call myself an engineer because I did that in my recording studio for a bunch of years. Also had a broadcast license years and years ago for a local TV station. So I did from 4:30 in the afternoon till I think it was 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. My job was to make sure the local advertisements and the local programs popped in, and then the national programs would play, and I would sit there and eat my snacks. And so, but it was a lot of fun. I was using tape decks, so it was really cool. So I had to produce some shows where I had to piece like special music in and commercials into events that were shot inside that studio, because they had 3 of their own live shows. It was really cool. They had the big cameras. So that was a lot of fun for me to hang out on an actual broadcast set, even though it wasn't as high tech as some of the bigger stations in the major cities, like NBC, ABC, Fox, all of those networks that you'll see in the big cities, but it was more like a local small network in a smaller town. But that was an absolute blast to have my broadcast license. And then I had my own recording studio where I built it with help from a contractor from scratch, and ran all the wires myself, did all the soldering myself. It was an absolute trip. So yes, I'm going to announce one other thing, and let me bring it up on my screen here. That mouse is dead. Go away from me. I keep trying to use a dead mouse. Okay, so let me do this real quick. See if I can find these. Nope, not those. I'm about to show you something I'm purchasing. So I'm buying 2 of these in the next 2 months. Yamaha has all their speakers on sale. So you can buy the 15 or the active or the 18 for within $100 of each other right now. These are amazing sounding subs. And I'm buying the 18s. It's the DXS 18 XLF. And I'm buying them here local. I try to support local businesses as often as I can. So my major purchases I usually will buy locally, which means I pay sales tax and all that stuff here in the state of Washington. So I probably start with buying one, and I'm using my consulting money and all of that to do this because I want my new mobile gear. I already have 2 Yamaha speakers. They're not the same line as this. I really want to upgrade my 2 15-inch monitor, my main speakers. I do have those 2 JBLs that I'm going to be able to have to fill the sides. And I have 3 Yamaha 12-inch monitors now. I need to add 2 more of those, so I have 5 total. And I want to get a couple in-ear units as well, so I can have for special moments, special events, like a wedding where I can put in-ears in whoever's singing, those kind of things. So just to get better sound in the room and not have a speaker blowing up the stage. So I don't plan on doing a lot of weddings, but I will do a few just because I want to get that in my repertoire. I've done a lot of weddings. I've been at a lot of weddings indoors where we hosted them at a venue I had, but never outdoor weddings, which is what I'll be using this for. So I'll start with one 18-inch sub, then go to 2 as soon as I can get the money together, and then 2 more of my 12-inch monitors and that stage box. So you're talking about $4 or $5 grand more of invested in live sound. And so again, it's a long progress. I'm not working full-time anymore. I'm only doing my consulting business, and I appreciate the likes on the channel. I appreciate all the support on the channel, and I appreciate the people that have reached out to me, like Johnny, and said, hey, Keith, I want to learn this with a helper, a guide. And so I try to be a guide. Sometimes it's a little difficult using Zoom, but we have learned that you can log in from your PC and from your phone. So you have a mobile phone in your studio. And so I did promise tonight, and I want to keep my promise here, that I'd show you my HOSA on my desk. So we're going to do that right now before we say goodnight. Remember what channel I'm going in here. This is my ATEM Mini Pro that I'm plugged in right now. And that is coming in channel 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me switch things up here real quick. What am I doing here? Let's one live. Okay, let me switch this up real quick. I'm not getting a signal here. So I'm going to plug this in directly here. I want to spill my coffee. Bring this in 4 here. Let's do this. We're going to go me in super source. And box 2, I'm going to do stream 2. There we go. And now let's cut. Sorry about that. So this is my HOSA switch once again. So you can see I have all 3 of the ports taken up. So inputs come in here and from the RodeCaster Pro, and then it goes out to 2 locations. That's 2 ATEMs, extreme ISOs. And then this goes to my subwoofer. And from my subwoofer, it comes to those speakers. And you can see they're off right now. But even if I turn them on, they're not live in the studio because I'm on channel 3. If I was to flip them over, my audio would go dead. And you would see my audio on the speaker. So I'll switch that over to channel 1. And you're not going to hear anything, but you're going to see audio. And that was the feedback that you get when your mics are on. I don't want feedback. I don't want those on. So that's why I recommend the HOSA switch. So when I turn on the ATEM audio, I get feedback in my studio, and you'd hear it through my mic if it was live. So if I flip over to 1, my speakers in my studio come on. But when I go live every week, I go to 3. And if my ATEM Extreme ISO dies, my number 1, I can switch over to number 2 because it comes through one of these HOSA switches. So right and left, 1/4 inch, and it comes in 3.5 right there. And that goes right here into my first. This is my monitor out of my Extreme ISO, headphone out, and this is my input from my HOSA. And then you can go over here to my other Extreme, and there it is right there. So I have both of those plugged in, so I can go to either one of those. And again, that's passive. It doesn't have to have any power. You just plug in your speakers, and you can come in 1 input, and you can go out to 3 different locations. I highly recommend this device for being able to be alive in your studio. And obviously, you can see that I'm using my lav, my wireless Go microphone right there that's on my chest. And now I can mute it. Bring this back up. And that's my setup right there. You can see my chat on the screen. And now we're back to me and a logo. So that's my HOSA switch in the studio. And I'm using the adapter to be able to go right into my ATEM with my iPhone and use it as a portable camera. So I love the live sound fun that we're adding to the live streams. I love talking about how to set up your studio for live streaming. So when I'm recording a video, I have it on channel 3 and I record right in to my ATEM. Right now, I'm not recording. Actually, I am recording ISO tracks right now. It says ISO. So I've been on the air. You can see what the bit rate is of my stream, and I have 8 hours and 9 minutes left on my SD drive, and I don't have a second SD drive. You have to buy a hub to have 1 and 2. I just have one SD drive plugged in to my ATEM, and I record to something like this. The one I have plugged in right now is 4 terabytes, and that's plugged in right here in my ATEM Extreme ISO #1. So that's kind of a behind the scenes look tonight. I am going to do a video on racking that up. I only got them out of my car. I picked all this stuff up in Sunnyside on Sunday, got it out of my car this afternoon, cleaned all the cases with Windex and a foam Windex, and got it all cleaned up so it looked good on camera tonight, even though my ISO is a little low on this camera, and but it's going to be good enough tonight. So thank you guys so much for joining me. If you have any other last minute things you'd like to say, I can see Tony has put this in the chat. What is the retail price for the HOSA switch? Sorry if you mentioned it earlier. Yeah, let me bring that up. And I have a link in the description below for that. They are Amazon associate links, so you do pay the same as if you're shopping on Amazon, but I'll get a little support if you use those links. So thank you if you do that. Or if you're just going to buy it from B&H, I will get it up here on the screen. Bring that over there. Let's just do this. That big knob that Hank was asking about before, it's only $63. And then it has 2 inputs and 2 outputs. It also has the ability to go to mono. So that would be one option. Let's type in HOSA. It's SLW-333. I think there's a newer version of this now. But $126 on Amazon, just the first thing that came up. And right below it, you can see the big knob is advertised right by it. And then you need to have, I was going to show you these guys tonight, so I hope that helps you, Tony. So to use the HOSA, again, you need to have, what do I do with that cable? You need to have some of these, and Johnny and I were kind of wrestling with this today. Either one will work. This is a balanced cable. It's got 2 lines, and the single line is a mono unbalanced. But you need one of these for right, one of these for left for every one of the outputs that you're using. But if you're going to go into your ATEM, then you have to have a cable like this. Now, this is one version that will work, but this is a tip sleeve. So these only have 1 line, and then on this side, so it's got 2 1/4 inches on this side. This one is 1/4 inch, so this will not work. So this is stereo to 3/4 inch. You need the 3.5 cable, and I had it here earlier, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it is. So you need the 3.5, and then these ones, which I do use in my studio, they're not balanced, so you want to get the balanced one. My main ATEM, I think I have a balanced cable plugged in, and this is 1 line instead of 2, and then it's 3.5. So you have right and left on one end. So that's what you need to go into the ATEM. And then you go 1/4 inch on one side, and then 1/4 inch on the other side to go from the HOSA into your speakers in your studio. So if you want to go to your speakers, you need these. And if you want to go from your RodeCaster Pro into the HOSA switch, you need one of these with 2 on one side and 2 on the other. So 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch, but you need the right and the left on both ends. So one of these right and left to right and left 1/4 inch going from the RodeCaster Pro to the HOSA, and one of these going from the HOSA to your studio speakers, and then one of the 3.4 inch to 3.5 to go from your HOSA into your ATEM. Or if you have two ATEMs in your studio like I do and you want to go out of channel 2 and 3 to one of the two ATEMs, you'd need two of V cables as well. And again, you only have 3 out locations, so you can only go to 3 places, but you also have to go 1/4 inch from your RodeCaster Pro or your interface into 1/4 inch inside the HOSA. So keep that in mind. And that's why Johnny had to go get one more set of cables, because he had them going from the HOSA to his speakers. And he also had a unbalanced cable, but it wasn't working when we tried it, going from his RodeCaster Pro 1/4 inch, right and left, to the HOSA 1/4 inch, right and left. But that one wasn't giving us any audio in the ATEM. So we pulled the one that he had that was a HOSA cord and plugged it into the RodeCaster Pro to the HOSA, and then his other cable from the HOSA to his ATEM, and we got great audio on the ATEM, so we know that the cables going from the RodeCaster Pro to the HOSA are working. And again, here's that diagram I did for Johnny right there. So, and that's available as well. So if you want that diagram for your own use, you can email me. It's in the still image tonight, but you can email me at the contact page and say, I'd like to have that still image, and I will email it back to you. You're welcome to have a copy of that image. So one of these days I'll have another HOSA switch and a couple monitors and my ATEM, and I'll do a video on actually how to set this up for 2024, but I'm using my HOSA switch tonight, so I didn't want to tear things out in the middle of a live stream. So that's all I got. It's almost been 2 hours. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this live stream. As always, thank you for the likes. If you haven't hit the like button yet, please do. Ring the bell if you want to get notified. And go over and join me on Facebook, as well as on LinkedIn, and befriend me there on Facebook. I have my Life Journeys channel. I'll put the links in the description later tonight if you want to come over and join me on my Life Journey Productions Facebook page. If you want to befriend me on LinkedIn, you can do that. I'm also on Twitter, so I'll put all those links there. They're also available on my website. So if you just go on my website, you'll see links available on there. I'll show you where those are on my website. Here's my website. So you can subscribe right here. And I normally put my videos down here, but I haven't put in the recent links in a while, so I've got to add those in here. But I have lots of my live videos in here. Here's some samples of some work I've done locally. I just did some radio voiceover for Harley Swain Subaru last week, so I'm on a bunch of radio spots. They asked me to use my voice, but I produced this promo video for them. I produced this promo video, and there's some more stuff here on my page. But right down here, I think you can share on Facebook. I think this takes you. Been a while since I clicked on these links. Yeah, it takes you to my Life Journeys page, so you can come over there and follow me on my Life Journeys page. I like to promote the live streams on there, but occasionally I post things like, that's a great video, you got to watch it. This was by Tom, and I love him. He joined us in a chat a while back. He's a great guy, and I'm developing a friendship with him, hoping it develops even more. The biggest reason why I wish I had been at NAB is to run into Tom Buck. I love his channel, and he actually, in this video, he has tears in his eyes because it so impacted him to be with people that he gets to know, support his channel, and other live streamers that he's watched for years, even some heroes that were in NAB, and meeting some of these people, like people from Black Magic Design and people from the other places. Like, he met one of his heroes from Rode, and it was actually talks about that in that video. So that's a must watch video. So go on my webpage and click on that and give Tom Buck a shout out, give him a like, and tell him you heard about this video from Keith Bennett at Life Journey Production Studios, that I was giving him a shout out tonight live. And it was always great when those guys jump in the chat live. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, for subscribing, for liking the videos. I should have that video up from last week with the audio samples, the DJI mic, the Rode Wireless Go 2, and the DJI 2 mic samples from last week's live stream, and a new video up on my channel very soon. So come back and check that out this next week. So that's it. You guys can say your goodbyes tonight. Thank you, Johnny, for being with us tonight. Thank you for your generosity and your support, not only for being tonight, for subscribing, but also supporting me as a client. That's amazing. I'm so excited about your journey, and I cannot wait to check out what you're doing. Go check out Tony's channel. Go check DJ Ware's channel out. Go check out the other channels in here tonight. I know for sure that, let's see, Tony has a channel. DJ Ware has a channel. Earlier tonight, we had Tim Morrow. I don't know if you have a channel or not, but let us know tonight in the chat. If you do, go check out those guys. I'm looking here. Joe has a channel, but it's not after his Tech for Fun name. Craig, I don't know if you have a channel. I know Doug at Forced Online has a channel. It's a great channel. Normally we have my buddy from Australia is not here tonight, but you can go back and check out channels from other live streams. But it's great to have all of you guys who YouTube here with me tonight, and those of you who are developing YouTube or just hanging out with us on YouTube. So don't forget, 2 weeks, you can be a part of our Zoom gathering. It's not recorded, it's not live, but we all get to be in that Zoom meeting together. So make sure you go to my channel and sign up for that. Got 2 weeks to get ready for that. And thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I am Keith. This is Life Journey Productions Studios. And with Hank, we'll say goodnight. Thank you so much. You guys all have a good evening. And thank you, Hank, for being here tonight as well. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.